Miss Illiana, thank you very much for coming out and sitting with the nitty gritty for this interview.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Not only is it great to sit down to you for this, but also to help promote you as an artist, as you're going to be one of our headliners for the nitty gritty, grown and sexy as the lovely lady lineup. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. My name is Illiana. I am a native to El Paso, Texas, born and raised. I just love my city. I have been here for many, many years, and musically I have evolved throughout all of those years, but I'm looking forward to just bringing a lot more content, a lot more creation, and just a lot more aesthetics to the people.
Love it. So as an artist, first, I've had an opportunity to listen to your music as soon as you sent it to me, and I ran down your catalog.
Thank you.
Fantastic work.
Thank you so much.
It's very rare that you hear radio quality music from an artist who's not on that level, and I think you hit it out the park. So it just shows just what natural talent you have, but when you have a production team behind it, just how much it excels.
Thank you so much. But actually, I owe that work to a lot of people because it did take a teamwork to do that. My music does vary from producer to producer, so I'd like to give a shout out to James Ballou, Petrichor, the producer, to Star City Studios, and to Alfe Entertainment with Leo Castellano. So those are my producers, and they've been amazing throughout these past few years, and they've helped me so much in involving my music, because as an artist, it's hard to find people that hear your sound, and especially what you're trying to portray with your music. So I'm just grateful that I have amazing people to work with. Speaking
of which, it's awesome that within this small group of individuals, what I've noticed is a lot of people not only go to Star City, but they know James. You know,
yes.
like that's a man is a beast of a beast as an engineer.
James is amazing. I think he just has an ear for music, and for any kind of music, and for any kind of genre. Because when I first came over to him, I told him, I have a song, but it's like hip hop meets jazz meets classical. And he's just looking at me like, we gonna figure this out.
Man, that's exactly what he says. We gonna get to it, okay?
That's exactly what he would say.
You know, and so that's awesome. So then, when you go into the studio, especially with James, he always asks certain things.
Yes.
To which, let me ask you right now, what inspires your creativity and influences your artistic style?
To be honest, most of the music that I've written, it's come from heartache, it's come from pain, it's come from just evolutions of myself. Every single one of my songs has very specific meaning, and they all have their own specific meaning. My very first single that I launched was called "Look at Me Now," and a lot of people they look at me now and they hear it and they're like, oh, this song is conceited in some way, but it's not. The song itself, at that time, I was going through a very depressive state, and I had just broken up with someone and I couldn't get over it, and I got to such a low level of depression that I couldn't even have mirrors in my house. I couldn't bear to look at myself. And one day I was walking, and I don't know if you've ever seen that meme where you're walking away and the doorknob grabs you by the pants and it's just like you're already having a bad day and it pulls you back. Well, this happened to me with a mirror, and the mirror got stuck on the back of one of my straps, and I had this beautiful gown. I was supposed to go out somewhere, and I ended up not going out because when it pulled on me, it pulled the mirror and it fell on the floor, and this was an old antique mirror that I had. And instead of picking up the glass and you know, just being a normal person, it triggered me to the point where I ended up breaking every mirror in my house. And I remember being in my hallway and just pleading to God, like, whatever this is inside of me, like, take it away, because the voices in me are beating me up worse than anybody outside of me could ever. And when this happened, I just remember saying, you know what, this isn't me, and look at me, and eventually it's what it ended up turning into, and Look at Me Now is all about breaking through that internal voice and owning who you really are, and basically navigating your life, because at the end of the day, we all beat ourselves up, but we have that choice to continue in our life's efforts and be positive and be hungry and be happy, but we got to control that voice inside of us. And so it was all about talking to the ego. Bitch, look at me now.
I hear so much emotional intelligence in your music, especially saying that now, and then hearing it, and then hearing the story behind it. It brings a different tone. It changes the message of the whole thing. It's not just a song, it's a message.
Yes,
now.
and that's the thing, is that every single one of my songs, every single one of them, they're all a storyline. I took up a lot of creative writing classes when I was in college years ago. And so for me, music isn't just about singing the same hook over and over. It's about taking someone through a journey and giving them an experience, because all storylines, all stories have components to them. You have the beginning, you have the middle, and you have the end. But the very end is the end of a story. It has two components. It either has a climax or it has a resolve. So I either want to create a massive climax where people are going to be like, wow, there was something that changed at the end, or, you know, through all these tribulations and trials, there's a resolve at the end. So I treat my music as if it's poetry. And if you break down the lyrics, you'll understand what it is that I'm trying to say. And I hope that people can connect with it, you know? One of my favorite songs, and when I wrote this song, I was going through a spiritual cleansing in my life. And I just happened to be invited to Mexico on a ayahuasca retreat. So I've done the spiritual cleansings and whatnot, but the ayahuasca retreat was something that I've never experienced in my life. It was something that was just next level. It was something that connects you to the universe itself. And so from that experience, I ended up writing what's called Om Mani Padme Um. And Om Mani Padme Um is one of the oldest, one of the oldest chants in the Indian culture. And basically this chant is supposed to get you into, centeredness and becoming the perfect individual internally and just becoming light and one with the universe. And so when I did this ayahuasca, I just remember hearing Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum. But if you hear the chant, it's usually a bunch of monks that sing it. So it sounds like just a bunch of men. And I was just like, I wonder if there's anyone else that's ever done a different version of it. And so when I launched this song, a lot of people started reaching out to me from India. So shout out to all the people that are following me in India. I have about 6,000 followers in India.
Yeah.
And that's cool because I never thought that my music would even get to that international level. And it's getting there slowly. But I'm just excited that something so profound could reach that type of audience.
So you've knocked out a couple of my questions, because I was going to ask, what is unique qualities in your artwork? Check. Share some of your favorite pieces or projects? Check. And what can people expect when they attend your viewings of your songs? So let me pivot real quick.
Yes.
Talking about this music, I'm listening to a lot of journeys that you go on to make the music.
Yes.
Let's talk about the performing side.
Yes.
How do you bring the audience in on that journey with you when you do live performances?
Well, the journey is different from person to person. I think that music is a very subjective thing. So everyone, when they hear it, everyone's going to hear something very different. And like they say, lyrics, they vary from people to people. And all I ask is people to close their eyes, to listen to the lyrics, and in hopes that they will connect with that. All of my music is very, very soft, very eloquent. But at the end of the day, I think that if they hear it, they're going to hear a little bit of spunk, a lot of sarcasm, definitely. My music has a way of reaching people, and I've created it in a way where it's like, okay, it could be fun, and I want to create a hook that will stay with you forever. So finding good hooks is my thing.
Agreed. Agreed. You're making this very hard to interview.
Sorry.
When you have just everything you're saying is so spot on. I think what people don't understand about being an artist, they look at the celebrity status and the person that's on stage with 100,000 people in the audience there for them. They don't think about what it took, the fifth, 50th, the 500th time a person has sang the same song over and over before they've even got recognized. All of the work that goes behind it. And so I appreciate that as you're talking about it, you're talking about the amount of work that life has provided you for you to create this content, as also understanding what the individual might experience.
Yes.
So then what is the goal overall with your music, with your artwork? Where do you want to see yourself in a year, 5 years, 10 years? Where do you want to go as the artist?
Well, I'd like to rewind a little bit to the beginning of where you started. So you're right. It does take a lot of times for someone, just first of all, to learn a song and to put it down and to get it into the studio itself, because people don't realize the amount of work that it takes to even put a song. You could have a song that's 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes long, and this could take you months worth of work. And a lot of people don't realize that studio time is expensive too. Yeah. So when you put in music, you're looking at a good $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for a song, and so it takes dedication to want to pursue it to that kind of level. But for me personally, I don't look at music as something that wants to take me to celebrity status. For me, music has always been a hobby. It has always been my form of therapy, a very expensive hobby, but it's been a form of therapy for me. This is how I'm able to release my emotions. It's how I'm able to tell people a part of my journey and my life without having to put it in a memoir or a biography. My music is my memoir. It is my biography. Another thing is that a lot of people nowadays, they want the clout. They want to go out there and they want to perform because they just want to be seen and heard. And that's not my case. A lot of people often asking me, where do you perform? And I'm like, I will perform in private venues because my goal isn't to be in massive arenas. My music is created so that the listener can listen to the lyrics, not the beats of the songs. Yes, the beats are beautiful, but I'm telling you a story and I want you to listen to the story itself. And the reason for that is, like, I grew up being a missionary worker in my 20s up into my 30s, and I worked as a missionary worker with music, and I've gone into so many other countries working with children's choirs. I was a choir director for children for about 7.5 years, and for me, music is my passion. So when it comes to it, it's not where I want to get to celebrity status. To me, music, no matter what, it will always be my first love, and with or without money, I will always continue doing it.
Well said, first of all. I think that's a great way for people to understand what passion is.
Yes. And
you also make it very, what's the word I'm looking for? And it escapes me, but I'll describe the feeling. Having individuals come on with the nitty-gritty, it's all about what we can do for them.
Yes.
How we can put them in front of individuals who are there for them in a safe environment.
Yes.
The main focus is the Poet for Pay movement, where spoken word artists don't have to feel like they're giving their all on an open mic for free. They're appreciated. And as we continue this, we want that amount to increase as we go along. But the most important part is for people to have that release, that free therapy type of feeling. That when they get on the microphone and they let it go, not only are they standing in front, or they're standing in front of individuals who are there to hear them, but after they said what they had to say, they have people that are going to welcome them, right?
Exactly.
That comfortable vulnerability. So a lot of what you said right now just aligns so much to what the nitty-gritty is all about and what we want to do. So that makes it even more excited to have you as an artist there.
Thank you so much. And that's a music that I do create. Like I said, it's either sarcastic or it's a form of release. I don't put out any kind of curses. I also don't want to do that. I understand the deep impact of what music can do. Well, so I want to make sure that what I do put out is positive as well.
Well, what about IDAF? not to talk smack. I love that song, okay? But you kind of drop a little bit of explicit. We all about the honesty in here, so I gotta pull that out right there.
Yes,
but
okay.
But it's in a way, and I was thinking that is more of that sarcastic side of you.
Yes.
Because in no way is it an offensive type of thing. And it's a bop, too. That song is a vibe the whole way. So, but I had to say something.
Okay, so that has its own story, okay? So basically what happened with that song, my ex was trying to come back, and I was at the point where I was just like, what do you want, dude? Because at this point, it's like, do you want me or not? Because at this point, I really don't give a fuck. Like, are you coming? Are you going? Are you staying?
That's an anthem. That's an anthem on its own. So, the fabulous song. And another reason why that was the song that was the catalyst for me to listen to everything else.
Thank you.
So I got to give a little respect to that. What can people expect? Because you're going to perform a new song.
Yes.
At the Nitty Gritty.
2 new songs.
2 new songs.
Yes.
Oh, we're getting double treat. Without giving too much away,
yes.
What can people expect
with these 2
from
new
this
songs?
Performance? Yes.
So, well, I will just say one of the songs is very jazzy. That song is a love song. A lot of people have told me that I'm a man hater. So I was like, okay, then I need to manifest beautiful love. So I created a love song about 2 star seeds that meet out in the galaxy and they fall in love, and all of the universe is for their love. And that universe itself is basically pouring in positivity so that love continues existing harmoniously throughout the universe. And that's what that song's about. So I'm looking forward to singing this song. It's brand new and I've never performed it anywhere before, so I'm excited about it. It has a very jazzy Broadway style to it, so it's very, very different. It has 2 different components to it. And then I have another song called Vals Eterno Sin Barreras. This is a Spanish song, and it's also a romantic song, but this song is about the moon and fire. And that's all I can say about that.
Okay. Say less. Say less. Few things.
Yes.
One, the way you speak about energy and what you put out, I would really love for you to ever think about a collab with Earth Angel Bay.
I would love to.
She talk about energy manifests, and just what you're saying, it just reminds me of the first conversation in her interview that we had.
Yes.
Where she just spoke so much about it, and so just you 2 together, that might be a powerhouse just waiting to happen.
I am totally down. I've even told her before, I'm like, girl, we need to do something.
Hey, I'm just telling you, like, fire. Also, you don't ever have to apologize for quoting the Bible verses here. Like, this is what we're a foundation on, not just welcoming, but I perform my song, God, Are You There?
Hey, I respect all religions and all ways of thinking. I always say out there, you know what? God bless it in the name of Jesus, Buddha, and Metatron.
I love it. So don't ever feel that you have to, if anything, it's always welcome, because that's who you are, and this is who we're celebrating, is you, the artist, for all aspects and facets of your life. So the last part, when people come to the Grown and Sexy, what does that interpretation have for you?
Actually, one of the songs got inspired because you said grown and sexy. Because I don't have any music that had to do with grown and sexy. So I was just like, okay, I need to write something that has to do with this. And oddly, I ended up writing this song, was it a week or 2 weeks ago when we had the full moon? Mm-hmm. A lot of weird things happened in the city that particular day. The next day, all these newscasters, like, I just remember that day was just a strange day. There was crashes everywhere, people erratic. And I just got home. I'm like, I need a salt bath. I need to remove myself from whatever energy is out there right now. But I was in my bathtub taking my mindful bath, and this song came on, and I was like, this beat is sick. I need to figure this out. And before I knew it, I was in the bath pruny for 6 hours, and a brand new song came out of this. But I think that particular song is very, like I said, it's very sensual, it is very sexy, and it's captivating the dance between the moon, the fire, and the ocean.
I absolutely love it. Madam, there's so many things I wish I could ask you here, but through your amazing energy and your great conversation, you've answered them all.
Thank you.
And not only
Okay.
that, but you did it in a fantastic way that just, I feel so honored and privileged and anticipating hearing it, especially, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it right here, and a nitty gritty inspired song, you know, so that right there, I gotta take a little bit of, you know, it's awesome. So with that being said, what is the last thing that the message you want to give the audience before we sign out?
Before we sign out, I want people to remain creative, to stay inspired, and whatever it is that they're hoping for them to never believe there are any limits to what their potential could be. And whatever chapter it is that they are in their life right now, write it down, because there's chapters in our life that will cause a catalyst and take us somewhere that we never imagined. But in order for us to see those chapters, we got to write them down. That way we know where we are and where we came from. And that alone in itself can inspire us to take ourselves even further, because we can look back and say, dang, I survived that, or oh, I did that, and you can do better. But I think that if we write these things down and just to stay inspired, we can keep moving forward and at the same time inspire others to go and be themselves by just us being ourselves.
Ooh, I gotta end it right there. Ms. Illiana, thank you
you
so much for blessing the nitty gritty interview, for sitting down and having
Thank
a
you.
chat, and for gracing the stage on August 30th.
Thank you so much for having me again.
All right.